Hello everybody, and welcome to Rest and Reason. I'm RP the Red Panda, and today we're going to be looking at a print and play game, Rats High Tea at Sea. Now, Rats High Tea at Sea honestly feels a little bit more like high society pie rats. This game plays a lot like this. Welcome to my party, everybody. Yay! I just wanted to let you all know that I have 5 beautiful bubbles!
Oh,
Look
wow.
at the beautiful bubbles, everybody!
Oh, I love it so much.
Beautiful bubbles! Excuse me, ma'am, but I hate to mention this, but I actually happen to have 15 bubbles. He's got more bubbles than the hostess? I'm so jealous. 15 bubbles? Rats! Excuse me, sir. Did you say that you had 15 baubles? Indeed I did. Well then, I will be asking you to give them up, because I have 47 swords! Wait a second, did somebody just get mugged at the party? Don't worry about it, honey, we are going to drink our tea instead. Oh, but I want to steal from him next time. That's the theme of the game, is that you're at a party and the ship is sinking. So you have to win at being the most fancy rat so that you get a lifeboat so that you actually survive. Now, let's get into the main mechanic of Rats High Tea at Sea. The main mechanic of this game is roll and write. Now, roll and write games are very simple. You roll the dice, whether it's for yourself or for a group. Then you write down something based upon what the dice show. At the end of the game, you score based on what you wrote down and how well that all matches together to achieve goals. 2 of the best examples of this that you might be familiar with are Yahtzee and Railroad Inc. Now let's get into the meatier review of Rats High Tea at Sea. In replayability, I give this game a 4 out of 5. This game is above average in replayability, but eventually this game is probably going to get a little bit stale. And the main reason it gets stale is because it only has one set of changing parts, and that is the goals. The goals, you get 5 of them each game, and they will change each game. However, since there are only 11 goals to begin with, having 5 each game means you have most of the goals in every single game, which means there isn't as much change to what you're going for every game. However, it's definitely still excellently replayable because the people you're playing with is going to change, and therefore the puzzle is going to change every single time. Next up, in Masterability, I give this game a 4 out of 5. This game is definitely above average in Masterability because you can do a lot of resource deducing. You are going to have sheets of paper that you're filling out, and you need to figure out what the other people at the table, or the other rats, I should say, are going to be doing, what they're going to be getting, how much of each thing they might have, and how much you need to beat them, at least, in those areas that you want to absolutely win. That's a lot of calculating. But the game isn't perfectly masterable because it is mainly focused on die rolling. You could be going for cocktail swords, but if you get 3 die rolls in a row that get you no cocktail swords, you could lose to somebody else because they had cocktail swords to begin with and you didn't. Next up, in Novelty of the mechanics, I give this game a 4 out of 5. This game is above average in its novelty. It's not necessarily brand new, obviously. It's a roll and write. You roll, you write, you get points for it. The big difference here is that this game is competitive roll and write, which is very rare. Most roll and writes, like Yahtzee and Railroad Inc., somebody will roll, somebody will write down, and it doesn't affect anybody else. They go on their turn, and it literally means nothing to you until the end of the game when they have or don't have more points than you. In Rats, every single round you stop at the end of the round and say, "Do you have so many of this? Do you have so many of that?" And everybody else answers, "I have more," or "rats," right? So every single round you are directly responding to other people and interacting with other people, and the whole table will kind of be a chorus of Charlie Browns going, "Rats!" So this game does feel pretty new. In synergy of the mechanics, I give this game a 3 out of 5. It's a more average game in synergy, and one of the largest reasons I would say for that is the cocktail swords. The cocktail swords are a lot of fun. They make the game pointy, so to speak, but they're not super well balanced because you steal all of their stuff. And when somebody has spent several turns getting that much stuff and you steal it all, it's going to make the game horrible for them. And that makes the synergy a little bit less good than it could have been, because it could have still been pointy and it could have still been, haha, I got you. But maybe having a limit on how many you could steal with the cocktail sword would make it a better mechanic so that you couldn't take 20 of their stuff, their entire time's worth of stuff. Maybe only take 5. So aside from that, the game is really well synergized. The goals match up with the things you're doing. You never feel like the stuff that you're doing in the game has nothing to do with winning the game. And that's really nice because there are so many games where you don't feel like you're actually accomplishing anything at the end. Next up, in simplicity, I give this game a 4 out of 5. It's definitely above average in simplicity in that pretty much anybody can play this, but it is just at the edge of anybody can play this because all of that deduction of what other people have and how much you're going to need is a lot of very abstract thinking, and that can be difficult for both very young children and older people and lighter gamers in general. So this game definitely doesn't max out the charts in simplicity, but it is still a beginner board game and therefore has a 4 out of 5. In universality of mechanics, I give this game a 3.5 out of 5. This game is slightly above average in universality in that most people are going to want to play this game. It's pretty fun, it's pretty easy, but the big thing that really makes this game not universal is the combativeness. The fact that you can just steal from somebody or ruin somebody's entire plans by having even one more of a resource can lead to a lot of highs and lows. And if your group really likes highs and lows, those moments where, wow, I just crushed you, ha ha ha, and moments where you're like, oh no! If you can take that and your group can take that, this game is really excellent at that. It's like being at sea. You'll be at the top of the wave and the bottom of the wave. It also needs a certain number of players. You probably need at least 4 to really get this game energized and moving. The bonus, though, is you can have basically as many players as you want in this game. In mechanical theme, I give this game a 4.5 out of 5. This game has an absolutely excellent mechanical theme. At the beginning, you're going to be
rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
And then by the end, you're going to be able to answer a resounding yes. Rodents of unusual size do exist, and they're sitting all around me playing this game with me. They are attacking me, they are stealing my stuff, they are conniving, nasty, driveling, horrible people, and I hate them all. And I love being with them, and I'm so glad we played this game. In artistic theme, I give this game a 4 out of 5. This game is above average art. In fact, honestly, excellent art that perfectly represents what the game feels like. If you think that this picture looks appealing to you, then the game's probably going to appeal to you. That means that this probably would normally get a 5 out of 5. But there is one big reason this game doesn't get a 5 out of 5 in art, and that is because this game is a print and play. It's nothing against print and plays. They're an excellent genre of board games, but just like a Picasso is going to be better when it's the hand-printed from the artist Picasso than the print, it's the same way with this. If this was straight out of a board game producer who spent heavy amounts of money making a glossy box with the beautiful art, with the colors perfectly done, it would be better looking than this. But that doesn't mean that this isn't excellent. They did an absolutely perfect job catching how fiendish and greedy and rat-like this game really is. In thought, I give this game a 3.5 out of 5. It is a very thoughtful game in a certain respect, especially mathematically. If you like math and statistics and poker, honestly, this game feels a lot like poker. You have a basic idea of what they might or might not have, but really those are the two problems you're doing. Calculating exactly how much they got, and whether or not they would take that. unless you're a super risk taker, you're not going to be doing the second part almost at all. You're just going to be doing the math. And to only have one element you really have to think through in a game means that the game is definitely a lot lighter. In energy, I give this game a 3.5 out of 5. Now, you might be surprised by that score considering the fact that this game really captures the energy of Do I Feel Like a Rat? But the problem is there aren't that many people out there sometimes who want to be a rat to their friends. And ultimately, that's because this game is an American-style board game, not a European-style board game. An American-style board game is a game where conflict is the center, and getting stuff, usually money, but sometimes just other stuff, is the main goal. You are beating each other up to get stuff to win. But most other roll and writes are European-style board games, because everybody does their cute little thing on their sheet, and then at the end of the game, they feel happy that they did some cute stuff. Rats isn't that kind of a game. So this game is one of those games in energy that you need to know your group and if this would be a good match for you. And for that reason, I give this game a 3.8 out of 5. This game is right on the edge of what I would usually recommend, but it's free, absolutely free. And that's why I would highly recommend that if you think you have any group of 4 to 5 players who would enjoy this game, go out and print and play this. And you also can play this with a giant group of people. I would highly recommend this for youth groups or after school groups where you have a bunch of antsy kids, you don't want to spend a lot of money. This would be a great game for those kinds of groups. It's just exactly that kind of energy, and it really makes you feel like this clip.
Remember, we put the rat in Pie Rat.
Now that I've done the review of this roll and write, I want to ask, what roll and writes do you like? Point me towards some more roll and writes that might be really exciting or really fun. And as always, please go down and push that subscribe button, push that notification button, because you guys are truly
the honor and glory of a mouse.
And thank you so much for joining us this time on Rest and Reason. P.S. If you would like to watch an excellent explanation of how to play this game, go ahead and click the link right here, and it will send you straight over to the Shut Up and Sit Down video explaining how to play this game. Additionally, I recently did a podcast with We're So Bored, spelled like bored as in board game, and it is an excellent little podcast, and we actually made this episode looking at dice chuckers, and this game actually kind of falls under the category of dice chucker. So I would highly encourage that you go over to We're So Bored and check that podcast out. I would also recommend that you check out their other podcasts, as they do an excellent job giving just overviews of the game and their opinions on it with a little bit of a point system mixed in. Thank you so much.